Hello everyone, I'm Mark Cook. I'm the CEO of Shiny Shoe. We are the creators of Monster Train, and I'm happy to be here again for another developer stream where I'm happy to answer some questions that come from chat, and we're going to do some gameplay today where we are going to use the Melting Remnant as the main clan, which we haven't done before on stream, so I'm excited to see that. And before we move on to questions even, I have a couple of announcements. One is we are still not ready to announce our release date, unfortunately. So I will not be saying when that will be today. However, I expect we should be able to say that extremely soon. So hopefully that'll happen real soon for us. And then the other thing is next week there's going to be a special streaming schedule. So I may still be streaming on Friday, but in addition to that, there's going to be some more stuff going on. I can't announce what that is yet, but you'll find out as well next week. And we'll use Discord and all the usual channels to announce that type of stuff. Yeah, all right, well, let's just jump over to questions right now. Let's see if there's any burning gameplay questions and so on that people had. So looking over, Nightshade Lotus asks, will the melting gang have death animation where they melt away? Well, we can see that in just a moment what it looks like. And the answer to your question is, well, like pretty much everybody right now sort of looks like they burn up and melt away. So no, they don't have a unique animation for death that's different globally for all of the candle guys. Excuse me. But some characters do have additional special effects that are kind of related to their gameplay mechanics. We have these like tomb units that are in the Melting Remnant, which by default have no attack, and they all have an extinguish trigger. So when they die, something happens, they do a couple of different things, and those guys have special kind of death blow up sort of animations, which maybe we'll see today in the run. All right, Mace Window 215 says, what is max score? I have no clue. That's something that we could look up in our database. If you mean who is the player who's gotten the highest score ever, we'd have to filter out all the cheaters, which we have ways to detect, and then find who had the legitimate highest score ever. In terms of like, is there a mathematical max score? I believe now there definitely is. There at one time there was not, because we give you points for gold, for coins, at the end of your run. And the number that you could get in terms of coins was, I mean, I'm sure there's some bound, but it's really hard to know how high that bound is. So you can continue to get points off that. At some point in the last few weeks, though, we introduced a cap on the number of points you can get from gold. It's still really high, though. I think it's something like 2,000 or 2,500 coins. Up until that point, you'll continue to get points from gold. So to get the maximum score possible, you would have to, number one, win all battles without taking damage, all trials enabled, without taking damage on your pyre, I should say. Enable all trials, get 2,000 whatever gold, if I'm right about that number, in total by the end of the run. Kill all bosses on the first floor when they enter, or for the flying bosses, kill them before they even enter the relentless phase. If you do all of those things, I think you would get the maximum score possible. Whether that is actually possible or not, I don't know. To accomplish all those things in the same run, there's a lot of randomized elements in the game, so maybe it is. I hope that you'll get the game when it comes out, and maybe you can be the one to prove that it's possible. All right, somebody said I'm right about that number. Okay, well, if there are no other questions currently, I'm happy to continue to answer them as we move forward. Who's ready to get on the train? Let's go. Sorry, I had to indulge myself with that one. All right, before we get started, Z Harksama asks, would you ever do monsters that merge with other monsters? Right now that doesn't happen, but it kind of does in the Umbra. There are monsters that eat other monsters. So that's something that happens. That's in the Umbra clan. We showed that last week. And in the Melting Remnant clan, there are monsters that split into other monsters, and maybe we'll see that today. I don't think we ran into any of those last week. So yeah, let's just get rolling. Okay. Why don't I hear my game audio? Something is going on here. Do I have it muted? Yes. All right, there we go. Fixed. Okay, so today we are going to primary clan the Melting Remnant. And I thought about it a little bit and decided that we are going to allied clan the Awoken. There's been quite a few changes to how the Awoken works from the public beta at this point, and I thought it might be interesting to share. And we'll go with Covenant rank 1. Stealth1596 asks, will there be a banner shop? A banner shop. I don't know what you mean by that. So if you could clarify what banners you mean, I'd be happy to answer that. All right, let's go. Unit shop? If that's what you mean, yes. I mean, we'll definitely see a unit shop on this run. In fact, I see one right here. And we can see what we want to upgrade if we decide to go that route. Okay. Let's look at the kind of conditions for this run. So we've got Seraph the Chaste. Cleanse all units of effects which don't benefit Seraph. This fight will require more than sheer strength. So it's got the Purifying Emblem. Seraph will remove half of any buff and debuff effect stacks. This is different than the public beta. I think I mentioned this last week. We've kind of reduced the power, the intensity of Seraph's ability here to make it a little bit easier. So, yeah, so you will remove green effects, buff effects from our team, and remove debuff effects from the enemy team. So we have to keep that in mind as we plan our strategy on this run. And our starting cards, we've got 2 copies of Wicklash. Enhance a friendly unit with +5 attack and apply Burnout 1. Burnout is the mechanic, one of the key mechanics of the Melting Remnant. Counts down every turn. When Burnout runs out, the unit dies. So it's kind of like the candle starting to fade, melting away, and then the unit is gone. So it's something that's important to manage, and Wicklash is one of the cards that allows you to add more. So it can keep a strong unit with Burnout alive longer. We got Wildwood Sap, which is an Awoken Clan card. Gives regen. Regen is not great overall, I would say. Often with Melting Remnant units, it's not always bad, but a lot of Melting Remnant units have really low life, so regen doesn't help them if they're dead. So we'll have to see if we can get some cards that work well with that. I mean, certainly there's quite a few in the Awoken Clan, so we'll see. And our rare card is Subsuming Blade, which is a Melting Remnant card. It's a direct damage card. It has Piercing. Piercing means damage dealt by the card ignores armor and shields, which is great, especially against trials. There's a lot of trials that add different types of shields to enemy units, so this will be handy there. And if it gets a kill, has a Slay trigger, increase the damage by 3 permanently, which is fantastic. And the other thing you can do with this card is you can cast it on your own units. So that is not something that is like kind of clearly documented here, but it also doesn't say it's blocked. So if you have low health units and you just want to get more damage on Subsuming Blade and you don't need those units to be alive, you can kill them to increase the power. And I've seen somebody screenshot where they had over 100 damage on a Subsuming Blade card in a run. And since we're starting with it from level 1, maybe we can get a really strong one here too. All right, let's get going. Okay, I always like to pick my artifact first, so let's take a look. At Herzl's Horde, we got 2. Encased Ember is a Melting Remnant artifact. Gain 5 Ember when a Tomb unit dies. So right now, we don't have any Tomb units in our deck, so taking that would be a speculative guess that we will get one later, which is entirely possible. And the other one is Refracting Lenses, artifact when a Consume card is played, restore 5 Pyre health. So we do already have 2 Consume cards from Wildwood Sap. So that would be a way for us to, guarantee later that we could get some free healing on our Pyre, which is nice. But I don't know. I want to show off more Melting Remnant stuff. Let's go for the Encased Ember. And let's check out the Dark Forge. What are our options today? Okay, we got the Dark Calling path and the Reaper path. Dark Calling. On Resolve, he has a Resolve trigger. This is our champion, the Rector Flicker. He reforms a random unit, which returns, what reform is, returns a defeated friendly unit to your hand. Enhanced with Burnout 1, +5 attack, +5 life, and 0 Ember cost. So this combos well with our Wicklash card here, where we can add Burnout to a unit. Because this, when they're reformed, they'll have Burnout even if they didn't before. And that's a way to keep them alive rather than just dying immediately after that turn. And the other option is the Harvest, or the Reaper path with the Harvest ability +5 life. So this is more of a tank, where the champion can act as a frontline tank unit to allow you to play other stronger units behind. I think I'm interested in trying the Resolve path. I think it combos well with some of the cards we have, and I think could be an interesting kind of example of mechanics in the Melting Remnant. Alright, so let's go for that. Quickly jumping back to questions, Dat OBST asks, in the beta, if a monster had multi-strike on it and you added more, the boss would not touch it. But if it had been enhanced with a card, it would remove it. Has that changed too? So for the Cleanse Seraph, it really only removes two things. It's things that are green, which are called buffs, and things that are red, which are debuffs. And those are shown in the UI with green and red icons. And so multi-strike is not a buff. Multi-strike is a yellow icon. I forget how we refer to those exactly, but it's not considered a buff. So sweep's not a buff, multi-strike's not a buff in the same way. Nor are like pure stat enhancements. So cards like, I forget what it's called, Steel something? Let's go look it up. Steel Enhancer, enhance a unit with +3/+3. That is also not a buff. So enhances are not buffs either. Buffs that come to mind are like Regen is a buff, Rage is a buff. Sap is a debuff, as an example of the red type that Seraph will clear off his own units. So there's a bunch of them, but there are also ones that are not considered buffs. All right, Aberan asked, does the knife work with double stack? No, double stack only works on status effects, so this is not a status effect. But Magic Power works with Subsuming Blade, because Magic Power increases the damage or healing of any card that directly deals damage or directly does healing. Speaking of things that are different, we can see right here that Restore has changed since the public beta, just as information for people. So now it restores 2 health and applies Regen 1. This is at least partially intended to help this combo better with one of the Sentient Champions upgrade paths to deal damage on healing. It's called Rejuvenate. And so out of a single Restore cast, you get 2 Rejuvenate triggers now instead of 1 because of the additional regen. All right, let's move on. All right, the first defense. Foot soldiers of the Disciples of Seraph. Weak attackers are hidden in the back line. Take them down. And I can show off one of the new features that's in the game now. So when you hover units here, previously in the public beta, nothing would happen. In the private beta, we started adding some like lore tooltips, and you can still turn those on. I currently have them off in the options. But we are now showing all game mechanics when you hover over the enemies here. So this is the boss that we're going to face. Shades of the Sighted, says what he does. I'm not going to go over it in detail, but this was a commonly requested feature in the public beta, and I think it's going to make a lot of people happy who are looking for this information when deciding if they want to take the trial or not, which I pretty much always take in level 1, so let's take it, and we're going to get a unit draft for it. All right. Root Beer Panda asks, can a creature that has been consumed be reformed if it has burnout? Yes. So if you reform something that already had burnout, when it's reformed, it will have more burnout when it comes back. So every time you reform them, their burnout is increasing, which sometimes is bad, but usually is good for you. Alright. Cool. So I'm going to play my champion. I would definitely want to keep him alive because of his trigger to reform units. So I'll play the Train Steward in front. So I could put Wicklash on my Train Steward, which would give it more damage. However, it would give it Burnout 1, which would mean it would die at the end of this turn. So I don't want to do that, actually. I'll just put Wildwood Sap on him. And let's go. Turn down the game speed slightly. Alright. Well, I definitely want to get the Collector. So I will place one of my dregs there. I'm gonna play these two guys here. Make sure I kill all these guys. Alright, might as well play this Restore. I'll at least get 1 life back. So that Resolve trigger on my champion that reforms isn't doing anything right now because there's no one dead in the Consume pile. So see how that goes? Okay, so now we can Subsuming Blade someone and kill them. Let's kill the Discipled Foot Soldier with that. Because it has Piercing, it means it will ignore the armor. So if it didn't have Piercing, this 3 damage would not kill this unit, but since it does, it will. And now, as you can see, our Subsuming Blade says it deals 6 damage. So it's good. Let's get that up. Okay, I am going to regen this guy again to be a frontline blocker. I'll play a Dreg in this room in preparation for the boss, essentially. I'm going to Wicklash that Dreg to both increase his burnout and increase his damage. And then I guess I'll heal that guy, why not? So that Dreg just burned out on the top floor. That Dreg just burned out, and now we've reformed one of them. So he came back, and as you can see, this Dreg has been enhanced. So Dregs are already at 0 Ember, so that didn't change anything. But now it has +5/+5 in terms of base stats. So this Dreg is now 14/8 and has Burnout 3, and it was previously 2. So that's how Reform works generally, and that's how the random Reform trigger, the Resolve trigger, works in that champion upgrade path. Alright, Root Beer Panda... Oops, I already answered that one. Anixian1022 asked, does magic power increase the amount Subsuming Blade grows? No, it just increases the current damage. So, Subsuming Blade always grows by 3, but you can increase the current number by using a magic power upgrade. Alright, so it's already looking pretty good for us. However, we would not win here, but I'm going to... Might as well Wicklash our Dreg here a few times, so now he's dealing 20 damage, and looks like we've already got the boss killed here, so there's not too much more to think about. So we didn't get a chance to really make too much use out of the champion ability on that battle, but it was battle 1. We'll get more use out of it moving forward for sure. Okay, let's see what we got. All right, we got 2 tombs now, so yay! Our Encased Ember is going to have some value for us. So Dripfall, descend a unit, just moves them down on the train, can be used on both friendlies and enemies. I like that card, but I'm not going to take it because I want to show you guys a tomb, and I want to get benefit from Encased Ember. So we've got 2 options on tombs. We can take Molten Encasement, Extinguish, which is a trigger that happens when they die. Restore 10 health to friendly units. I'm currently not loving that one right now. I mean, we already have Awoken as our allied clan, and we have Restores, we have the other regen card, Wildwood Sap, so I'm not really feeling like that's super useful. And the other one is Entombed Explosive, Extinguish, deal 35 damage to the front enemy unit. That sounds pretty good. I like killing the front enemy unit. Sounds great. Let's take him. That OBST asks, it feels like the last 2 races just feel so much stronger than level 1 than Hellhorn and Awoken. Was that intended? You know, like a lot of balance changes have happened since the public beta, so it's really hard to say, but we are not trying to make any clan just flat out stronger at all times in comparison to others. So game balance is one of the major things being worked on as we prepare for the release of the game. There's still quite a few different things that we're working on. I mean, you can see, here's some examples of other things that have changed. Look what Sting does now. This has changed since the public beta. Deals 5 damage to the front enemy unit, and you draw 1 card next turn. So that is something new. And there's quite a few of the cards in the Awoken have been modified to draw in the next turn, which was partially to prevent infinite loops, basically infinite combos. But there's been just a huge variety of changes in all clans. And our goal is to make them all equally powerful, all equally viable. However, based on the random elements of the run, there are going to be, within the context of like what battles you face and so on, there might be some clans that are better than others, given the enemies that you face, but it's not like our design goal is such that it's not always better to play Melting Remnant. It's not always better to play Umbra or something like that. So anyways, that's what we're shooting for. Okay, in terms of this card pack, what do I like? Is Razor Sharp Edge interesting in this deck because of burnout enhance sort of mechanics? Maybe. We can keep bringing people back. Even if we kill them with Razor Sharp Edge, we can bring them back again. So we could get some strong attackers that way, potentially. Fine Grasp is always a handy direct damage spell. And we only have 1 direct damage in Subsuming Blade right now, so that's not too bad. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for Fine Grasp. Alright, and our units. We've got Thorned Hollow, Summon, gain 30 max health, Rejuvenate, gain spikes. So this could be a frontline blocker for us, and we do have some healing from having the Awoken Clan. And we've got Regen, which works really well with Rejuvenate on these guys. We've got Lady of the House, 2540 with Burnout 3. So really strong unit. The drawback is it's got Burnout and will go away and die naturally from that. We have ways to boost Burnout, multiple ways already, so that's looking appealing. And we've got Shattered Shell, Sweep, and on Slay gets +2 attack. And I always do love Sweep. Sweep is always super useful. So that's tempting to go for too, but I don't know, why don't we just try to go all in on as much Melting Remnant stuff as we can. Let's just go all Burnout all the time. Odin Hagen asked, will it ever be possible to do a single faction run? So I think that got asked on one of my previous streams. And right now the answer is no. There'd definitely be some things we'd have to think through design-wise to, I guess, make that possible. I suspect if all we did was basically just go through the map, and so let's say we were playing Melting Remnant only, and we would have a Remnant flag here and a Remnant flag here and blah, blah, blah. You'd only get artifacts from your current clan and so on. It would make the game easier, I think, because, I mean, within a single clan, there's all these things that are intended to combo together, right? And what sometimes makes the game really interesting is if you try to combo things across clans, and we think that that's like a really fun strategic part of the game. But if we just gave you all the same rewards, except they only came from a single clan, I think it's likely the game would be easier. So, we might want to think about how we would retune the rewards and so on to still make it interesting. Or it just could be like a mutator that you could enable, perhaps, that, can create a mode that's easier if you want to do it in a custom challenge or something like that. So, noted. The suggestion is noted, but right now, no plans to implement that before launch. All right. So let me think about which path we want to go on here. Do we want to upgrade our units or our spells? I feel like probably our units at this point. We have a lot of units. The Melting Remnant's kind of base card is the Dreg, a unit. I think the only spell I really feel like I'd be interested in upgrading is maybe Subsuming Blade or Wildwood Sap. So let's go for units. Aha! So from our Remnant banner, we got 2 options here. We've got the Wickless Baron with a Harvest trigger where he gets attack and life, and Harvest works. They both have Harvest triggers, actually. It works great with Burnout, like units dying a lot. This combos really well with the Umbra, too. We're not playing Umbra today, but that is a fun combo to do. And we've got Wickless Tycoon, Harvest, gain 5 gold. He's got worse attack, but higher life. I mean, I do love getting gold. Let's go for the Wickless Tycoon. I can never pass him up. Alright, and here's our unit merchant. What did we get? We got Emberstone. Upgrade a unit to cost -1. Do I really care about that? No, in terms of Ember. Upgrade a unit with +6 attack. That might not be bad. And Large Stone is our rare upgrade. Upgrade a unit with +1 capacity, +10 attack, and +15 life. So if we previewed that, you know, we could get a pretty darn strong Lady of the House. Although, you know, the 3 capacity drawback can be pretty major. I don't think I would want to put that on Wickless Tycoon, because we want him to, like, be sitting in a room with as many units dying as possible, so the additional capacity there really hurts us. So if I was going to put that on anybody, I think I would consider putting it on Lady of the House. I'm going to think about it, but first a question. Varian asks, is it a coincidence that you have 5 clans with 5 different color schemes, and they feel somewhat modeled after the respective mana colors? No, I mean, definitely they're totally intentional to have different color schemes to make it really obvious to the player which clan you're playing and which artifact, card, and so on belongs to each clan. So, I mean, in terms of, like, color differences, that was 100% planned by the art team, and they spent time thinking about the palettes for each of the clans up front, including the enemies, as well as kind of like a conceptual 6th clan in terms of the art design and art planning. So that was all planned up front. I mean, there's no mana colors in this game. All mana is Ember. Ember is this fire icon here, so there's not like the concept of mana colors in the same way there is in Magic the Gathering, right? But yeah, in terms of palette, definitely intentional. And if we added another clan, we would plan for some other palette that feels unique, and it's all about just drawing that kind of visual difference between all the cards and mechanics, which helps people understand the gameplay better. It's not just to try to look cool, it's also impacts, I mean, comprehension. Alright, well, I think I'll go for the Large Stone. Let's put it on Lady of the House, and then let's hope we can get, like, multi-strike or something later, which would be great for her. Okay. I'll purge something. We don't need this many Train Stewards. We just got some more units. Let's get rid of a Train Steward. Okay. Alright, Disciple Conduits. Conduits use their knowledge of your train to ascend more quickly than other disciples. Take them out before they reach your pyre. Okay, so we've got the Conduit Infiltrator, gives haste. Haste means when they come in on the first floor of the train, they move directly from the first floor to the 3rd floor if we don't kill them. So that's not good, because it means units will get into your pyre room faster. And the boss is the Steel Slate. Yes, spikes. So that's his main thing. Obvious, right? He looks kind of spiky. And we could enable the Aggressive Amulet. Non-boss enemies get +4 attack to get a unit draft. And there's going to be Clergymen spawning, which can sometimes, if you don't have direct damage spells, they can sometimes be hard to kill. Especially with extra damage. That can be rough. We don't have a lot of direct damage. And I kind of don't feel like we need a unit draft, so I'm actually not going to take the trial. Shameful, I know. Alright. What do we want to do? We did not draw any of our direct damage spells, unfortunately. So, one thing I think is interesting about this Resolve trigger on the champion, you actually have somewhat of an incentive to cast him in the bottom floor rather than other floors. So, obviously I want to protect my champion because that Resolve trigger to keep reforming units is such a key part of the strategy that we're trying to build towards. If I place him in the top floor, the issue basically is if I placed him in the top floor, and let's just say I put the Dreg in the bottom floor and just sacrificed it to die, his Resolve trigger would happen here because we resolved the floors top to bottom. So he would try to reform, but nobody's dead yet on that turn. And then it would go down, and then the Dreg would die, and then the Dreg would go to the consume pile. So, because of that, I try to almost always play the champion, if I'm going on this upgrade path, on the bottom floor, if I can. So let me think about how I'd want to do that. I mean, we could, of course, put the Lady of the House in front, which will definitely protect us, so maybe we should just do that, under the knowledge that even if she dies, we should be reforming her again. Let's give it a shot. Alright, Void Cannon 4 asks, any plans to add more mini-bosses and enemies? So there's quite a few mini-bosses in the version of the game that I'm playing right now that were not in the public beta, so I think there's like 6 or 8 more mini-bosses. So in comparison to the public beta, the answer is yes. In comparison from right this second until we ship the game, the answer is no, but adding new enemies and new bosses and new kind of gameplay mechanics are definitely like one of the avenues of expansion for, I guess, like increasing the amount of possibilities and outcomes during a run. And so as long as we can keep coming up with like new mechanics that justify their inclusion, then, you know, I'm all for that idea. I'm gonna play a Dreg up here and play the Train Steward. Cast that on her, just give her 1 regen. So you'll see how haste works now. So that enchanter climbed all the way to the top because she has haste, skipping the middle floor. You have to be really careful to pay attention to that. If you went and started playing a bunch of your units in this floor, you're going to have a bad time because they're not going to get any kills or anything. So, sad thing about this bottom floor now is capacity is completely full. We can't put our Tycoon there, but let's at least put him up here so that we can start earning some gold. Because we will get 5 extra gold from both of these guys dying, and we'll actually get 5 gold from the Dreg dying too. So the Harvest Trigger combos not only on enemy deaths, but also on your own units. And we've got a Subsuming Blade, which we should definitely use. Let's just make a decision. Let's use it here. Alright. Nitrox20 asks, are there any strategies that players came up with that were surprising? I think definitely yes. And there have been many cases of like seeing something buffed in extreme ways, or like a single spell dealing a ton of damage, which is possible, especially with the spell weakness debuff that exists in the Stygian Garn clan. So yeah, I mean, I've seen some things buffed beyond what I thought was possible in the game personally, which is always fun to see. And sometimes when we saw some of those things, they resulted in us making gameplay balance changes, but not always. All right, so unfortunately I can't cast, I mean, I guess I can cast our Entombed Explosive, but he's just gonna sit here doing nothing in this middle floor because no enemies are gonna visit it. And yeah, he's just gonna sit there kind of sad. And I might as well play this Dreg too. I mean, at least the boss, I don't think, has a haste enchanter in the room when it comes out. Alright, there's our gold triggers. Ooh, 15 free gold. Okay, got a Dreg back. Well, so okay, I'm glad I paid attention. I was about to Wildwood Sap Lady of the House, but that would be a complete waste because she's going to die from burnout. That's what this icon right here means. She only has 1 burnout stack left, so this unit will die next turn unless it gets more burnout, it says. So will this guy do? So I don't know who would be worth Wildwood Sapping right now. Maybe just my champion. Just get out of my hand, might as well. Still feel like I might as well cast these guys. I am really hoping... Okay, so... Sadly, this Dreg is also going to die this turn, so both Lady of the House and the Dreg are going to die. I am really hoping that my champion's random reform on Resolve brings back Lady of the House and not the Dreg. Let's see what happens. Of course. RNG! Okay, what we can do? Okay, well, there was a enchanter here, but good thing we have Vine Grasps. She's gone. Alright. Good. Now he's going to have to climb into this floor. So what should we do here? Yeah, the bad thing about spikes is these Dreg units have relatively low health, so they do kind of get owned by that. I mean, we might as well put another Wildwood Sap on him, and then we can put this Dreg here, and we can buff him with Whiplash, which looks like it's going to be good enough. Here we go. And here I was talking crap about regen not being worth it, so that actually worked out quite well. Okay. Card from the Melting Remnant. So Molten Encasement we saw before. I'm still not really feeling like that's great value for the current composition of our deck. Purifying Cleanse is another healing card, but it also applies Burnout 2 directly to the unit to keep it alive longer, which is nice for keeping units like Lady of the House alive. However, it's also nice for Lady of the House to die and get reformed. And as a spoiler, I can tell you that this, you know, as it works with all champions, as they continue to go through their upgrade paths of the Dark Forges, it just gets stronger and stronger. So this doesn't feel super necessary to me. And Dripfall to Descending Unit. This maybe has more utility, so I think I'm going to go with Dripfall. Alright. Steel Enhancer. So Enhance does last even if the unit dies, so even if we're cycling through with Burnout and Reform, enhancements live on, so that's pretty good. I mean, we saw Razor Sharp Edge before, and there's Sting again, so do I want any of these in my deck? Let's think. I mean, Razor Sharp Edge is pretty good on Lady of the House because I don't really care that much about lowering her max health since it's so high already. Just base plus Large Stone. And 8 more attacks, not bad. If we can get Multi-Strike on her, it'll be even better. Let's give it a shot. Okay. So if I go left, I can get a Hellvent to copy a card, and Herzl's Horde. Get an artifact. If I go right, I get Pyre Health, which I don't need, and a Magic Merchant, which I do kind of want to... I want to get the Ember cost down on Dripfall, so... that is something that would be nice. Alright. Let's see. What do I want to do? I don't know. Then the other thing I was thinking is if I was going to copy something, what would I copy? So we could copy Subsuming Blade now, which we would have another 9 damage, direct damage spell, which would be nice. It would be great if we could copy that even later. But that... might be decent. I mean, it's great utility to have that to kill backline units. Yeah, let's go for it. Oh, let's get our artifact first. Okay, Thorn Fruit from the Awoken. At start of turn, add a Sting spell to your hand, which we've seen now combos into card draw, so that's kind of interesting, as well as being a frontline damage spell. And Wing Clippings, cards with Consume have a 50% chance to be discarded instead. So we still only have these Wildwood Saps as Consume, but we could get more later, and being able to use them more for free is kind of nice. Drawing more cards, kind of for free. I mean, it's essentially for free. We get a Sting every turn, so they do start to clog your deck up in long kind of playthroughs, and we're not going to go for a Sting deck, I don't think. I mean, that's definitely not a theme that we're going for here, but... yeah, let's see, I'm thinking about it. Varian asks, what are some of people's favorite combos they have found? That's a great question, and there's been a ton of feedback on Discord. It's like an overwhelming amount, which has been kind of fun to see all kinds of people's opinions about what the best kind of combinations of mechanics are. Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just answer it for myself. One of the things that I really like is something that is related to this harvest mechanic. I just love like high gold numbers. It just always makes me feel good. So when you play Melting Remnant and Umbra together and you just have all those little morsel guys that you're eating, like these harvest triggers to gain gold can just go crazy. If you use some of the, there's like other Umbra units that can make morsels copy really fast, like Shroud Mitosis is the name of one card that copies a morsel 3 times. Another one's called Morsel Master, which is a unit. When you summon a morsel into the room, it copies it again. And those guys die basically every single turn, so comboing that with Wickless Tycoon is, I think, super fun, and you know, makes playing that clan combination really interesting. Alright. Well, I'll try the Sting thing so we can see how the card draw modification has happened. And I guess even before copying a card, we should go to our Concealed Cavern. Let's see what we got. Rail Spikes. Rail spikes from the rings of hell have been driven into the stone, near the rail like some sort of monument. At the base lies a hammer carved with ancient runes. Alright, I won't read the whole thing. But we can choose the rail spike from the Hellhorned, the Awoken, or the Stygian Guard. Which one should we take? So, let's look at them. Spike of the Hellhorned gives rage and armor. Rage is a buff, so that can be cleansed by Seraph, so not great. Armor is not a buff. And you can tell, again, from the colors of the tooltips here on screen. So green, it's a buff. Armor's yellow, so it is not considered a buff. That is not changed since the color base is still the same. The Awoken's Rail Spike, consume, draw X, enhance all cards drawn this way with -2 Ember. That's pretty good. I mean, it's nice to get that if it hits like Subsuming Blade or if it hits Dripfall. And the Stygian Spike, apply 1x Sap and 1x Frostbite. So this can be double stacked. So Sap and Frostbite are both debuffs, but we have the Cleanse Seraph, so it'll cleanse them off, which is not fantastic for us. So I think I'm leaning towards the Awoken Rail Spike right now. Nitrox20 asks, would an endless mode be possible in the future? Yeah, I think we could conceivably do something like that. I don't know how it would work exactly, because the way that we've developed the game in terms of the 9 rings of hell you're traveling through, that's really like set up to be 9 rings and not an infinite number of rings. But maybe there's like some alternative concept. I mean, it would just be harder, or take more time, I should say, to implement, but I could imagine like in some kind of endless mode, you're not on the normal map from a normal run, you're on a different map, and like you just keep coming back over and over to that map, and there's different rewards in between battles or something like that. Alright, so I'm going to go for the Awoken Rail Spike and depart. Alright, Varian asks, what was the thought process of having generic upgrades for units from stores instead of, say, having a specific upgrade for the card itself? Okay, well, interesting question, because you touched on something that did used to exist in the game and now doesn't. So one of the reasons for having, generic upgrades is they can affect cards in any clan and be useful. Right now, there is, from the unit merchant, there is a Melting Remnant specific upgrade, and that's the only clan that has one, which is kind of weird. So right now we are planning and expecting, before launch, to add a clan specific upgrade, at least one per clan, at either the unit or spell merchant, depending on kind of the theme of the clan. So there will be merchant upgrades that are unique to the clan, but that's still not the part that you asked about being unique to the card itself. And so I'll tell you about an older mechanic that we used to have in the game that we ended up removing. It was called Chosen. Like, that was a status that could be on a unit, so if you imagine looking at Lady of the House, it might say Chosen on her card. And Chosen units could be branded. That was kind of the lore behind it, was you would brand them with this special hell symbol, and they would power up, and then they would look different and do something different. And ultimately, we took that out of the game because, it was cool. It was like conceptually cool, thematically cool, but what it restricted us in, it was just like, it was more, every new unit cost more to make because we had to make 2 versions of it for every single Chosen unit. And it kind of like, because of that also, it limited the amount of unique units we could have in the game. Because we don't have an infinite budget. No game development project does, right? Everything in the world has constraints. So we wanted to have a wider variety of total units in the game in each clan, rather than keeping that kind of Chosen branded feature that was really cool. So maybe it'll see a return someday, but maybe that was some interesting context on the history of the development of the game. All right, and Larry93 asks, so my question is maybe more on the design philosophy. You mentioned that you delayed the draw on many Awoken cards to counteract infinites. What is it you don't want to see about infinites? Well, we just think they're boring, basically. If they're too easy to get, and you're able to just infinitely cycle something that benefits you and just makes you win, we don't think that that's like a super kind of compelling experience for the player. This is a game where we want all decisions to be interesting. Once you get into a position where you're in an infinite, there's no more interesting decisions. You just keep exploiting the infinite combo. And so philosophically, we are not against infinites. We're not setting the line that there must be no infinites in the game. However, we want them to be really hard to get, and we thought they were way too easy in the public beta, especially with the engraft card, which has also been changed. So that's the design philosophy about that. Maybe there's other people on the dev team in chat who can talk about that in more detail. But that's my high-level understanding of it. All right. What do we want to duplicate, if anything? I don't actually think I want to duplicate the rail spike. It would make it more likely we would have it hit what I want it to hit, but I mean, I don't want to constantly keep using X Ember on it, you know, so... I think I'll probably duplicate Subsuming Blade. I mean, it's just got great utility. And it gets better over time, so... Let's do that. Double barrel. Constructed explosives explode twice for our Daedalus battle. And Daedalus has gotten... He's gotten stronger. In a variety of capacities, but here's one. Constructed explosives now do 10 damage. And because of this variant with double barrel, it does it twice, so that's 20 damage. However, we kind of want units to die also, because then they get the benefit of Reform, if we can keep our champion alive. Okay, so we got our free sting from Thornfruit. What else we got going on? We can Wicklash Lady of the House. Well, I'm just definitely going to sting one of these guys right away. Yeah, I'll probably just play Lady of the House. I'll Wicklash her, keep her alive longer. Let's... For 4 turns, 5 turns. Yeah, let's just throw that on here too. Let's just sacrifice the Dreg so that he gets reformed at the end of the turn. There he is. He's back and he's better. So that's a new thing. What you just saw right there, what Daedalus just did, we changed all the flying bosses, where previously they would always move to the next floor they're going to visit and then do their effect. They can now do the effect on the floor that they're already on and then move. It's still random what they do, but the reason for doing that was previously you would just know, like 100% for sure, that they would not, like Daedalus was previously on the middle floor here, that he would definitely not do his effect on that floor that you were currently on, which we felt was too easy to exploit. So now the effect of the spell cast, we call it, so to speak, in between turns can happen both on a different floor than they're currently on, as well as on the current floor that they're on. All right, we got another Subsuming Blade. Or we got draw one of them, excuse me. Let's definitely use that. Yeah, I mean, I want to cast that more than I want to cast Sting. Let's do that. Do want to start playing my Wickless Tycoon. Yeah, what the hell. Okay, let's do that. Let's sting that guy. I mean, we can kill this Dreg again and get him back again, so why not? So now the question is, should I Razor Sharp Edge somebody, I think? Or should I Rail Spike right now? Let's Razor Sharp Edge. There's that Dreg again, reformed yet again, so now he's up to Burnout 4. Alright, here's our other Subsuming Blade. I definitely want to keep getting those powered up, so let's do that. We Clash her again, let's do that. Right, let's just start getting some damage on Daedalus. I'll gamble that I can keep her alive. I mean, her burnout could run out, which would mean regenning on the lady is not very useful, but let's gamble that we can pull it off. This is a haste wave with the bomb in the room. That is not great for us. Luckily, she has extremely high health, so our champion is still protected. Okay. Might as well sting. Throw our bomb up there. Let's just summon some more of these guys, why not? Alright. What do I want to do here? Well, I think I definitely want to Wicklash her to keep her alive at this point. Maybe? I don't know if that's the right decision or not, but let's play it out. Just be damaging. Daedalus. Well, we just cast 3 stings in a row, so we're going to get a lot of card draw next turn. Look at all those cards. Okay, so I could Subsuming Blade Daedalus, but I could also just Subsuming Blade our own units. Oh, that was idiotic because I didn't read it. So he didn't die. You should have played this guy and killed him instead. Ah, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Alright, what else do we want to do here? She's gonna die from burnout, it says. I'm gonna give him more attack. Let's do that. He might have the opportunity to live longer. No more reform, unfortunately. Okay. We'll play our damage card Fiesta here. I think that's what we want to do. Yeah. And we can drip fall somebody. This guy will deal 35 damage. That's pretty good against what we're facing. Let's just bring him down. I wish we could have brought him down to the front, but... Oh, it's one of those guys that explodes in a special way, and we got our 5 Ember from that, which is great. Now we can get a lot of cards from the Rail Spike. We need to start using that guy better. I mean, he does combo nicely with X cards, too, with that extra Ember from Encased Ember. Alright, but it's looking good. Our Sting cards actually are proving to be pretty decent. It's nice to get that extra card draw. Alright, what do I feel like I want the most? So now we're getting a lot of card draw from Stings, so that doesn't feel super nice. So maybe Fell's Remorse is the right one to go for here. I mean, having a little bit extra capacity would also be nice, though. If we got one more, then in the room where we've been commonly playing Lady of the House and Rector Flicker, we can get another unit in there. Like, we could get our Entombed Explosive into that room, which would be handy. But, I don't know. I'm going to go Fell's Remorse. I often don't choose this these days, so I'm curious to give it a shot. Alright, Memento Mori. These are rare cards here, so this is a great one. We've got a lot of units dying. Deal damage to the front enemy unit equal to 10x the number of friendly deaths this battle. Wildwood Tome, apply Quick. I mean, Quick's always good, but this doesn't feel like super necessary given how we're currently running our strategy. And Unleash the Wildwood, restore friendly units to full health. This is like way more about comboing with Awoken units, which we don't have, so I think I'm going to go Memento Mori, especially since we just also chose more Ember. Even though it's a 2-cost card, you've got more flexibility there. Unit Draft. So these two we've already seen. Animus of Speed, Multi-Strike 2. This is really nice with Reform in terms of increasing the damage with so much Multi-Strike. Memento Mori. Alright, good. I'm glad I chose what people wanted. Animus of Speed. Do I want Animus of Speed? Razor Sharp Edge is not bad with it too, combined with Reform also, to get like a bunch of damage from Multi-Strike. Yeah, let's go for it. Alright. Purge Gold. Excuse me, Purge on this side. Yeah, Purge Spell and Remnant unit versus Merchant of Steel for unit upgrades. Health we don't need, and gold. So, I mean, I still kind of want more unit upgrades, but I also really want to purge. I want to get rid of these Train Stewards. They're not doing anything for me. They're just clogging my deck. If I went to the Merchant of Magic, what would I do? I could maybe get Ember Reduction on one of these two. Or possibly remove Consume on Awoken's Rail Spike, which would also be nice. I don't really feel like I need another unit, however. And I can always use gold to purge too, so this is at least one purge from this amount of gold. I feel like there's probably more utility going that way. Alright, I'm gonna do it. Given how this current run is shaking out. Okay, quick. We can give quick to somebody. Giving quick is pretty good to the Animus of Speed. So I didn't choose that book, the Wildwood Tome, because I didn't know I was going to get Animus of Speed yet. I mean, quick on Lady of the House is pretty good, but as we get further into the late game, like even 35 damage is not really enough to kill somebody, so it becomes less useful. Putting quick on somebody with multi-strike, if we can buff the attack a lot, can be really good. Alright, well, I know I definitely want to purge, so I'm going to purge first, actually. At least once. Do I want to Power Stone somebody? And Power Stones, like, that adds a lot. I mean, it's like all the benefit of the attack is multiplied by 3. And we can do that twice on this Animus of Speed, actually. Which would then continue to benefit from Reform. I don't know. I'll do that once. Do I want to do it again? Is the question. Maybe not. Maybe hold off for a better upgrade. Quick is also nice, but still the damage isn't quite high enough. But now with the extra health we just got, we have a bit more room to do Razor Sharp Edge on that unit to increase it. And quick starts to get more interesting and more useful. Yeah, I'll go for it. See what happens. See if we can make good use of that. Alright, I'm actually going to use another 100 gold to purge again. I just really want to get these train stewards out. They're just doing nothing for me. Yeah. This is the last battle I'm going to play today. Yeah, just have other work I got to do, so let's give it a shot. Trial. Heaven Seal. Non-boss enemy units restore all health when they move up the floor. One of the most complained about trials. So let's definitely give it a shot so I can feel other people's pain. And our boss is the Thoughtbinder. When you kill someone, it adds ultimate penance to the top of your draw pile. That's actually pretty bad against the Melting Remnant. We've got a lot of these like little low health guys. If this Thoughtbinder is able to wipe out a floor of our units, then that's going to start to add a lot of additional garbage Scourge cards into our hand. Quill Marksman and Clipped Reflector. Yeah, that guy's always super annoying. Because he can add armor, which makes him even harder to kill with the current trial. He's gotten can't. Like, so, as much as I wanted to just cast Sting on him right now for free to get the card draw next turn and the damage, if I do that, he's going to gain armor 10. So it's going to be a net gain of life for this particular unit here. Which is painful, painful, painful. What can I do? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? I'm not seeing too many great options. We could Awoken's Rail Spike right now and just hope we draw direct damage cards, which would allow us to kill like Quill Marksman, for example. Another thing we could do is we could gamble on reforming the Animus of Speed. Like, we could play the Animus of Speed this turn, play Wicklash on it, which will kill it for sure. Of course, play our champion, which will then definitely reform Animus of Speed, because that'll be the only unit that's dead, which will then get +5/+5, which would be great. But it'll have Burnout 1, which means it's like likely to die again. But if we can get it to come back again, then it'll have Burnout 2, and then maybe we can start to get Wicklash on it. It's risky, but yeah, it could be fun. Let's just give it a shot. So I'm going to do it up here, because I don't want to cast any spells in this room with this incant guy, so let's do that. Let's do that. Well, we can get a Sting draw just even if we cast it here. I'm going to, say side to the Wickless Tycoon. Let's just mess around. Cast that. I did not get what I wanted there. I wanted to get a direct damage spell. I'll probably just play Lady of the House there. Alright, that's it. Okay, so here's our Animus of Speed. He's back already. It's been enhanced by the Burnout effect. So let's see. 16 times 3, 48-ish. So, yep, that guy's dead now. And she's got enough life that she's not going to die from enemy damage. Now, here's my next problem. I really want to kill some of these other guys, or I want to cast some spells, but I guess that's probably not going to be to my benefit. Let's see. If I cast this, he's going to get 10 more health. Then she'll have 21 attack. So it will not be enough, so that is not worth it. We can play this guy. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. Now we've got both the enemies dead. I think that'll be worth it. Alright, let's see. Just cast that up here in empty space. Okay, let's just move forward. Oh. That was one drawback of playing it that way. What I really wanted to have reformed here was the Animus of Speed, not the Entombed Explosive. Although this guy with Burnout 1 is actually fantastic, right? Because he'll just die. How much does Memento do now? Let's see, how many units have we had die? 3, it looks like, so it does 30 damage, and that's just going to keep stacking up. Yeah, like, that's another reason I probably should have just played one of those dregs in my hand I had a moment ago, just to get free additional damage here. Okay, so I can play that guy again. We're again risking kind of not getting what we want on the reform. I'm just going to... I want to keep getting my Subsuming Blades to be stronger, so I'm going to take the hit on those. Play that, play this guy. Let's see, what else? I don't think I want to play either of those because of the incant triggers. He's going to die, he blows up. Yay, we got what I wanted. Alright, so where do we want to put this? So I can put it in the top floor. It'll definitely kill this guy now. I'll kill the next two, so that seems good. See, look at this trial. We're totally taking care of Heaven's Seal. I don't think we're going to take pyre damage. Famous last words, right? We can enhance here. He'll still die for sure. I mean, we might as well. Her max health is growing, so that was kind of part of the strategy we were going for in the first place. I could probably will Vinegrass just to get rid of that. And I'm just going to Sting in the Pyre Room, which does nothing, but the reason why I did that is because I don't want any of these incant guys to trigger, and Sting is going to have me drawing cards next turn. Let's see what happens. A little bomber guy back. Alright, now what do we want to do? We can keep her alive with Wicklash, but is it better to let her die? Well, our chances of her coming back, our Animus of Speed, is starting to diminish, right? Like, we might accidentally get the Dreg or the Lady of the House. I mean, getting the Lady of the House back would not be bad either for the upcoming boss. I would really like to get Animus of Speed back. And if I keep her alive with Wicklash, there's the chance that she still burns out by the time the boss reaches that floor. Our Memento Mori is now up to 60 damage, so if I cast that, it's just going to kill this guy. Which is good. That makes me feel better about letting her die. So I might do that. I know the boss is going to come out next turn, so I feel like I might as well cast this guy down here. Maybe go with the Tycoon here. Let's kill him. Do I need this Train Steward? I could just kill the Train... Well, I mean, if I kill the Train Steward, then I risk he might get reformed, which is not what I want either. Cast these again up here. Tough. Tough, tough, tough. Okay, that guy. What the hell? Give him some Whiplash. Please reform who I want. No! Alright, well, we still have one more turn for that to possibly happen. Okay, well now we can freely cast these. Yeah, that's kind of pointless to put... Like, we'll put the sap on this guy. Is there anybody we want to push down here? Probably not. Let's just skip that. No! So, that boss just got 2 kills, which which means we got 2 of the Ultimate Penance cards. Ah, we did get Memento Mori, which is now dealing 100 damage, which is looking pretty good. We've got this bomb of Sting cards to drop on him, too. And we got 9 Ember because we got the trigger from the tomb, so... No, it's actually feeling good still. If we hit him with this, is he... He's not going to be dead, but... There we go. Yeah, we won. And it looks like we just took out Heaven's Seal with taking no pyre damage. Ah! Alright. That's it for me today. Let's just look at the artifact from the Melting Remnant we got, though. When you play a unit, a random card in hand is reduced to 0 Ember for the turn. That's super handy combo because we were playing a lot of units with this deck with all the little 0-cost guys like the Dregs and so on, who are reformed and keep coming back as well. So yeah. No, I'll take that, and I'll finish playing my run later. So, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you again on stream next week. Bye for now.